Hey, welcome back to the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge, and today we have Undercover Billionaire. Undercover Billionaire. Yes, this is something from the, I guess, Discovery Network. There's just all sorts of networks content showing up on Disney Plus now for some reason, but normally that's reserved for Hulu. But hey, what are you gonna do? Here we have it's from 2019. It's one season, but it's season two. Season one dealt with what's his name? Come on, Glenn Stearns. He was an undercover billionaire. He was the only one, I think, for that season, and it was meant for him to sort of break new ground in a sense. He's kind of a mentor at the start of this. I only watched one episode, and each of these episodes they vary in length. The first one I watched, the first episode of season two, is an hour and 24 minutes long. It's like a movie. In a sense, it's not really a movie, but it's a really long episode, where some are as short as 40 some minutes, 42, 45 minutes. But it fluctuates. And there are how many episodes? 14. Yeah, 14. Like an hour and 24, 46, things like this. And this season is completely one arc, but with 3 billionaires. Yeah, 47 minutes. It's all over the place with time-wise. But why is this any different other than having 3 billionaires at one time that we're following? Well, apparently Glenn learned his lesson, and now he's passing on. He learned his lesson about being a billionaire, and the people that work for him or work with him. I'm not really sure what the whole concept behind this. He gives the little intro at the beginning, and each of these billionaires communicate with him regarding what they're going to be doing. They're each given a life reset in a sense, a challenge that only billionaires could possibly probably take on and not lose a dime. They they have to be away from their families. They have to be away from their businesses. They have to be away from luxury that they're used to. It comes with being a billionaire. They are each of these Monique, Elaine, and Grant. They are each. They made their billions, however they made their billions in different companies, different whatever. Some of them tell the story that they were born in poverty and other things. I don't know enough about them to make that decision, but to be a billionaire, you don't get to be a billionaire by working hard necessarily. You get a lot of people working hard for you, because the goal of being a billionaire is not to be working at all, because being a billionaire affords you that ability. Millionaire, somewhere in there. It's give or take. But billionaire, that's an astounding amount of money. That's not something that you just sort of reach by really putting your nose to the grindstone and pulling everything up by your bootstraps. There's a certain point where you just sort of break from reality and you get to be a person who does little. A lot of people do a lot in order to keep you in that life. That's my statement for now. Until I become a billionaire, obviously, from doing all the work that I'm doing here. But in this case, each of these 3 people are given new identities. They get to change their names. They're not allowed to use their contacts in the business world. They're still able to communicate with their families. One communicates with his wife and 2 daughters. The other communicates with her mother. And they have a camera crew with them, which I imagine to a certain degree is helpful and not so helpful depending on the situation. But they are given a truck, a cell phone with no contacts, and $100 that they need to turn into $1 million valuation. That's different than just $1 million physically. $1 million valuation within 90 days to show you that it can be done. And they're each dropped into a different part of the U.S. without knowing in advance where they're going. Grant goes to Pueblo, Colorado. Monique goes to Tacoma, Washington, and Elaine ends up in Fresno, California. And they have $100. They don't have a place to sleep. They don't have food. They have $100. And that may seem like a lot to some people, but to them, that is like giving them a nickel and then suddenly, not even a nickel, like half a penny. They've probably never seen less than $100 bill in their hands. So, yes, I'm a little cynical when it comes to this. They discover through this that things aren't so easy when it's just provided for you, when you just have to make a phone call, or you have not a pool guy, but a team of people to keep your pool clean, where you have every known luxury known to man or unknown to most people, and suddenly now you got to figure out whether you're going to live in a hostel tonight or in your truck, or maybe barter a way into sleeping in an empty RV with no toilets or electricity. Maybe there is electricity, but I don't know. There's a whole lot of stuff going down. Or maybe use your contacts by lying to a preacher to let him pay for 3 nights in a hotel until you can get yourself situated. You just got into town, and you're trying to be an entrepreneur, and you don't have a whole lot of money. But meanwhile, there's an entire camera crew and a producer standing right near everything. And of course, that question does come up a number of times. And it's like, well, if you're staying in a hostel or you're staying in a hotel, what about all these other people? There's like probably a half dozen people. There's got to be at least 2 to 3 cameras, a producer that kind of keeps things moving and rolling, and ideas. If you don't know what a producer does, well, at least when it comes to reality TV, they're the ones who help build the narrative in some cases, and also make sure that they're spending their money right, I guess. At least an on-site producer is compared to just somebody who says, okay, we need to fund this, and we pay for this, and hire these people. That's a whole different thing. But either way, it's frustrating for them. It's frustrating, rightfully so, to go, hey, you know what? I haven't eaten tonight, or I don't know if I'm going to have shelter tomorrow when that hotel that the preacher got me runs out. Oh, and what am I going to do to make money? That's going to be a $1 million valuation in 3 months. I'm going to sell juice. Where I'm from, we just have fruit juice shots whenever we want, wherever we go. There's just fruit juice. Okay. We do that. With healthier food options. Yeah, you know what? People would love healthier food options. Pay your taxes. Maybe people in the community might be able to have better wages to afford fruit juice and not just McDonald's. A Happy Meal just to get by. So, yeah, there's a whole lot. It's frustrating to watch this in many ways, because you know that after the 90 days are over, win or lose, $1 million or $27 when it's all over, they go back to their life. Nothing changes. You know what? And I'm willing to bet that after all of this, after all the frustration, they might get a better appreciation of how the 99% live. They might have that. And you know what? All the people that they lied to, guess what? They probably will throw some money or gifts or whatever it is, some financial backing, support, whatever it is, to all the people that they had to manipulate in order to get their $1 million valuation for a game show, basically. It's essentially a challenge to them. Yeah, I don't doubt that the guy is really sad that he wants to bring his family, Grant wants to bring his family to Pueblo, and they're just... He's like, I don't. As long as I've been away from my daughters, lovely young girls, and I'm sure as a dad, you want them to be there along with the wife, gorgeous wife too. To just, but do they want to be in Pueblo, Colorado, basically living in an RV with you? No, no, you're not gonna. You have at least probably 2 or 3 mansions that they like to live in. Wherever you're from, he's in Miami. I think he's originally from Miami. That's where they're based. It is kind of funny toward the beginning when they are given their mission and everything else, and they're saying goodbye to their family. They jump into their private jet, or a helicopter, or just some really nice SUV, and they get to their destination in style, and then they swap out for a. Do they have a driver's license with the new ID? This seems pretty illegal. Like, you're gonna have to sign paperwork as this other identity. This seems a lot like there's a lot of BS involved in order to make this happen. I'm just saying. Some of you might be entertained by this to see billionaires struggle, and billionaires struggling with frustration and people not listening to them, no matter how confident they are, and no matter how strong-willed, and they feel, constrained by not be able to call up one of their buddies and say, hey, I need this amount of money. Can you make this work out so I can buy a giant building and then turn it around and make another business, and then, here, let me get my Lamborghini and I'll be right over. None of that. None of that's available. So they have there's real physical struggle to a certain degree. Some of it, I imagine, could be exaggerated because reality shows are generally fake for the most part. But the concept stays intact, at least for the first episode. I don't know how it goes for the rest. I'm not going to watch the rest. I am not a fan of billionaires playing at being poor. Again, this is mainly a matter of pride. This performance is a matter of pride to be able to say, I have $100. I'm going to turn this into $1 million in 3 months. You can do it too. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps, you lazy bum. This is hard enough when you have money. It's even harder, weirdly, when you have none. When you can't get a hotel room because it's $100 a night, and it's $100 deposit, and you have $100, and you're in the middle of the pandemic. Yeah. Everybody's still wearing masks, and I don't know where they are, at what point in the pandemic, where it's like, is it just waning, or is it full blown? And it's got to be hard to film so much of this when you're literally, your stars' faces have to be covered up. Also, it's a benefit because they have to, Grant shaves his head. He doesn't look like himself. And certain entrepreneurs might recognize these entrepreneurs, these billionaires, the ones that they aspire to be. So they have to disguise themselves. Maybe the mask helps a little bit. Maybe it helps that you're, in some cases, in a little bit more, let's say, conservative area, where masks are, whatever you want to do with them. So yeah, there's also, the one woman, Elaine, goes driving through downtown Fresno, and she sees everything closed up. There's businesses are closed. There's probably, those businesses were closed before the pandemic. Fresno's not a small town, but it's a smaller town compared to San Francisco or Los Angeles. It still has an urban aspect, but it's also really rural to a certain degree. It has a small town feel to it, but it's a bigger small town, like that. So, yeah, there's no such thing as, well, I shouldn't say no such thing, but there's a lot of towns out there that, yeah, when Walmart comes in, or a Lowe's or Home Depot comes in, there goes your grocery store, your local small town grocery store, or your hardware department, your hardware store, or anything, just about anything. Supplies, they get sucked up by major corporations run by billionaires. Get rid of the Walton people on this series. See if they can live on the money they pay their employees for 3 months. That would be interesting. Yeah, they have to get jobs. Elaine is game to have 2 different jobs in order to exchange for having shelter in basically a hostel that is not great. She decides she's going to help out this inn where she's staying. There's a restaurant downstairs. It's pretty much nobody comes in for the most part, and everybody they have to talk to looks like they're really suspicious of what's going on here. Why are there 3 guys with a camera and a producer standing off to the side with a headset giving directions while this person is begging for a job? It feels fake, even to the people that are on the show. And also, when you're showing up on camera, it kind of gives you a certain level of credibility when somebody's like, "Hey, can I work a deal out with you? I must, I know you don't have any reason to trust me or know me, but I'm going to promise you this. I'm going to promise you that. I'm going to do this if you can do this for me." Well, guess what? It's on camera, so you have a slight ability to go, wait, if they turn out to screw me over, I'll have proof to sue them, right? And there's a point where also some business owners don't realize they're coming with cameras. And they have to sometimes, these guys learn later on that, hey, maybe keep the camera people out of the building until they get permission to bring them in. They're still mic'd up. Because it can scare off some people. At one point, one guy says, like, I don't want cameras in my business. I don't want any cameras here. And so it totally ruins Grant's deal at first with a certain guy who has a business, who has a lot of different businesses in Pueblo, and he wants to sort of work something out with him. It's a detriment to their connection. Does he allow them back later? Yeah. Could that have been contrived? Probably. So yeah, I don't trust this show as far as I can throw it, but I feel no sympathy. I feel literally no sympathy for our 3 main characters at all. The struggle is interesting to see, and cool if they can do it. Do I care if they do it in the end? No. If I skip to the very last episode, are they going to be handing out money to everybody they lied to? Yeah, probably. I would be very surprised if they didn't, because they wouldn't also come out as, "Hey, look, I'm the good billionaire, the one," or "We are the 3 good billionaires." Oh. It's really up to you, man. If you can buy into this and get into it, but that's seriously, it's really up to you. It's not something I'm gonna try any further. So let's pick tomorrow's episode. 39. Oh, jeez. All right. I think this is another. It's sort of a reality show. But it's also, is it? No, it's not listed as a reality show. At least I haven't tagged it as such. But it is more like a true crime kind of series. It's a series, so I'm going to watch 1 episode because it's got a very silly name. I love you, but I lied. Sure. So, will this be entertaining? No doubt. But yeah, it's people betraying other people. Always entertaining. I love you, but I lied is what we're watching next on the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge. I'll see you back here tomorrow with that.